Hey investors, welcome back to another episode of VishalVealthView. So today was a bit surprising for me, not because the market rallied 4% in a single day, not because there was a ceasefire announcement, and not even because the war is just over within a week, but because how all of this happened and I'm rethinking about my investment strategy that was just my hiding or hedging strategy. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about India's defense sector and how, after this war, there's a opportunity in this particular domain for India to export its weapon. Because in this particular 4 to 5 day war, the defense equipment that India produced showcased really amazing results. So, let's do a deep dive into this particular domain and try to understand what's happening around here.
As India responded to the brutal terror attack in Pahalgam, Operation Sindoor was more than just a counter-strike. It was a demo day for India's defense tech ecosystem. While Pakistani missiles came raining in, India sent a clear message that we now make our own drones and they work. Let's break it down. Operation Sindoor was the first time that India deployed a wide variety of UAVs in combat. So here's what was flying: Harop loitering munitions, which are radar hunting kamikaze drones, then Sky Striker drones, which are precision hits made in India by Alpha Helvet, ALS-50 by Tata, which are AI-enabled long-range loiterers, then Nagastra by Solar Industries and Z Motion, which are deep strike kamikaze drones. Then we have Drishti, the Hermes 900, which are surveillance UAVs deployed via Adani. Then Switch and Netra by Idea Forge, which are India's go-to ISR drones. What about Pakistan? They threw in their Turkish Bayraktar TB2s and Ashes Guard Songars. But India's layered defense knocked most of them out of the sky, which meant no loss, no damage, and no warning shot. Because this wasn't just retaliation, it was a showcase. So, what made Operation Sindoor different? It was more than just the targets. It was how India took them out. Loitering drones for autonomous precision, real time ISR coordination via satellite networks, and non kinetic warfare with DRDO's D4 anti drone.
So, now, if you must have seen like PM speak a few hours back. In his message, he was pretty vocal about you have seen how great our weapons are performing, and we are open to business, and we want to sell these weapons. And to some extent, I believe there is a lot of hotspots that's already active around the world. We have Russia-Ukraine war that's active. We have India, sorry, Israel and Gaza war that's going on, and to some extent, we are also supplying weapons there with ports to Israel. So to some extent, I think we are already part of active supply chain in military complex around the world, and our weapons are going to be purchased by most of the South Asian countries who do not want to buy high tech weapons. And the way warfare is changing, it's more economical rather than high tech. How much cost you can inflict on your adversary rather than uh, like how much you have to pay for it. It's all about ROI.
Drone systems and upgraded Shilka and L-70 guns which were neutralizing swarm threats. So this was agentic warfare without the buzzwords like AI, edge computing and auto-targeting. So no jargon, just plain results. Suddenly, Indian drones aren't prototypes. They are battle-tested products. And everyone from Southeast Asia to Africa are taking notes. Elbit, Ideaforge, Paras Defense, Adani, Zen, Garuda, Asteria, they're no longer just making drones because they're making deals, and here's the game changer. So in Uttar Pradesh, over 15 drone and aerospace companies have set up base. So the BrahMos aerospace facility in Lucknow just got inaugurated, and UP is now India's defense corridor, complete with subsidiaries, infrastructure, and plug and place policy solutions. This isn't just make in India, but deploy in India and export to the world. And India's defense startups have never had a better moment. Why? Because the market is real, the government is buying, and the enemy is confirming your product market fit. And global buyers are circling, and PLI incentives are always live. So, if you ever wanted to build in drones, defense AI, and battlefield autonomy, this is your call up. Because after Operation Sindhu, investors and VCs are no longer asking, can it scale? Because they're asking, can it fly? And this wasn't just a strike, because this was India rolling up its sleeves and saying, we don't just retaliate, we innovate. And Operation Sindoor was India's combat debut for drone tech. and the world just saw the trailer. So the full movie, that's for our startups to make. So let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Front Page by AIMT.
From Ukraine here to look at some satellite imagery showing damage to Pakistan's air bases caused by India's missile strikes. There's a mixed bag of damage here. I'm going to have a look at each satellite image and then show where exactly it is on the map and that sort of thing. So, the first of our images is on screen now. This shows a large crater on the runway of Sargodha Air Base. Now, damage to runways like this is quite an easy fix, so this won't be an issue to repair. You can see transport aircraft are nearby. I did wonder at first if this one had missed its target, but it being slap bang in the middle of a runway like this makes me think this was its actual target here, rather than the base's infrastructure. Last night, we looked at a similar strike that hit a runway and caused a massive crater, said to have been done to prevent the PAS fighter jets from taking off during that night's missions.
To some extent, that's like a pinpoint precision. Like if they're trying to hit a runway, not the infrastructure, so you need almost 20 to 30-meter level of precision, and there are only few missiles that can strike almost 300 kilometers inside Pakistan with that level of precision that India has, and I think everyone knows which.
That could be the case here too. That video is said to be from Rahim Yar, but as we'll see when we get to the Rahim Yar satellite imagery, I actually think it could be from this airbase, Sargodha Base, and the wrong name was given by the source which uploaded the video. As you will see when we get to that satellite imagery, the craters of that airbase are much smaller. This one looks pretty hefty. As well, for this, about 200 kilometers to the border. No mention as to what was used to hit this. It's out of range of a DRDO airfield denial weapon, so something else was used here, but I'm not sure what. Let's move.
Yeah, I think BrahMos.
Move on to our next image. So our next one is on screen now. This shows some pretty extensive damage to an aircraft hangar at PAF Bolari. Some OSINT sources reported 5 airmen, including a squadron leader, were here at the time. You can see a pretty big hole in the hangar roof and that old nemesis of Russia's, debris, littering the area. No confirmation as to whether any aircraft were in here or not. Let's check it on Google Maps. Bolari is one of the PAF's main bases, and it's home to the number 19 squadron equipped with F-16s and the number 18 squadron equipped with JF-17s. Also flying here are Saab 2000 AWACS aircraft. I wonder if these may have been targeting the AWACS, which would be a major target. This being aimed at the hangar used for storing the AWACS is a big possibility, I think, because the fighter jets have their own small hardened bunkers as shown here. The AWACS aircraft would need something bigger. Another possibility, this is a repair or maintenance facility to the base. I've added it to our map and you can see this is about 280 kilometers to the border from here. Scout is a big possibility for targeting this one, I think. Next up, this image here. This is another hangar targeted at a different airbase. This one is PAF Baz Shahbaz. A single hangar hit here, with a quarter of it destroyed. I can't see any sign of an aircraft inside this hangar, and the imagery is quite clear. This airbase is a major one, and it's home to the number 5 squadron, the 11th squadron, and the 88th squadron. Number 5 and number 11 fly F-16s, whereas the 88 is a helicopter squadron. And here's a Google Map view of it, so you can see this hangar is right next to the air control tower. The air control tower is still standing, but it must have took some damage. A quarter of this hangar at least has caved in. Now, I couldn't see any sign of an aircraft amongst the wreckage, but that isn't to say there isn't some and we just can't see it. This is right on the flight line, so I would expect some to be here. This is added to our map now, about 200 kilometers to the border, and there's still quite a lot to go. Next up, the Pashur Air Defense Radar.
Yeah, so again, over 200 kilometers, there's no weapon.
On the satellite imagery. So either it's been towed away already, or the angle of the photo we saw was misleading, giving the impression that a C-130 was on fire, when in fact it wasn't. but it certainly did look like a burning C-130 was here. On Google Maps, you can see this is the truck and logistics depot of the base. A bit of a waste of two missiles, to be honest. Out of all the places on this base to target, hitting the truck bay would be pretty low down on my list of priorities. The PAF got off lucky here, as in the aftermath satellite imagery, you can see it hanging nearby with a transport aircraft inside it, just to the south. Two images from Sukhot Air Base here. The first one shows the targeting of the base's radar site, and before and after showing damage, but it's unclear how much. Secondly, this area of the base, marked as a shelter that took a direct hit. I believe this might be a repair facility, but I'm not 100% certain. Let's go to Google Maps. It was the lower one here that was hit. You can see there's a large door at either end, so these were made to accommodate very large aircraft. This is jointly a civilian and military base used for logistics and the like, so it could be there was a key transporter being stored in here, or the repair and maintenance for said aircraft. And here, a Google map view of a radar. So this was definitely a radar site, as you can see the shadow of it on the ground. And here, you can see it's about 100 kilometers from the border. So that's all the imagery I have. More targets may have been hit, of course. I have no imagery yet of the Indian air bases targeted. I've looked online, but nothing's been uploaded. Maybe we'll get some soon. If it's interesting, I'll take a look at it. I also have some imagery of a recent Ukrainian strike.
Now let's take a look at Paras Defense. I think this was one company that has been in the radar, specifically after all this turmoil, specifically because of the products that they produce and that used. So first, let's take a look at like the overview, what the company does, what's the market capitalization. So it's a 5,000 crore company. High P, that means people are demanding the stock for this, and there is a huge demand for this company in public market. And low debt. And let's take a look at the sales. So sales has been growing at almost 44%. Profit has been growing almost 30% in last year, which is a considerably good number. Let's try to understand which products are they producing, which is like amazing and which can be a game changer for everyone. Okay, so now let's take a look at the products. So these are some of the products that they have. Dexter 20 Terminator, high frequency. They're basically non-kinetic drone jamming equipments. Now they have not defined how many orders do they already have for these. But this seems like a interesting tech that they can sell. I think they produce a lot of camera hardware specifically for space equipment, defense equipment across like all the services, Navy, Army, and Air Force. So this is interesting. Like if you are producing more drones, then these cameras might be required. So this company should be interesting from that point of view. Let's take a look at Bharat Dynamics as well. I think they also produce missiles, guided missiles. So let me see what has been happening to their stock. Stock P102. Pretty costly. Like that's the problem of investing in these stock individually because they're just too high valued. I cannot invest in these companies at these valuation because it does not make sense to me logically. That's why I try to reduce my risk by investing in an ETF so that I'm buying a bundle of stock in this domain. But from a turmoil point of view and from the trajectory point of view where the world is going, I think the turmoil is just going to increase because uh, China is also saying that hey, we want to take Taiwan back, and two conflicts have already not resolved. I think there's a good amount of market for defense product in Africa as well, considering how unstable it is. So let's see what Bharat Dynamic does. Okay, so they are the producer of our card, so that's a good thing. I think this product would be sold extensively because Akash has been deployed across all the services in huge order, and it's also expecting potential products for export. And in this conflict, this product was demoed like in an amazing way because when you have 200 drones coming at you and like some of them fall, there should be blast. And to some extent, we have not seen that level of loss, at least coming from any Indian side, even though it's through social media. Apart from that, they have saw a torpedo. Let's take a look at Bharat Dynamics product. So I think they are manufacturer of Akash Sam. Now this product has been, I think, pretty good in saving the skies during this entire 2 or 3 day conflict because have, uh, there has been multiple exchange of drones, artilleries, and even ballistic missile. Now I understand ballistic missile cannot be stopped by SAM, but it's a good system that you can deploy on a military base, on an air base. So at least anything that flies within a particular range is destroyed whenever you see this. So a lot of military bases might want to buy this because it's a low cost alternative to multiple SAMs that's available in the market, uh, specifically compared to like the Western ones. And then torpedoes, I don't know what CMDS is. And then there is Nag missile. I don't know if this was even used in this, but to some extent, like these kind of situations are also a good uh, testing playground for whatever equipments you have built against your adversary. So a lot of defense analysts' eyes will be on this conflict. Trust me. And I have Concourse, Astra. I think this is a Astra is a air-to-air missile. I don't know if this was used. I don't know if there was any jets, J-17 jets that were down was because of Astra, because of another air-to-air missile that we have called Meteor. So it can be a uh, like choice of both, but clearly, like this company is going to be in investors' radar, and the reason is you can see the P like 102 people are still investing in it, and I don't have courage to invest in it at this valuation. I'll be honest with you. So, what's the strategy I'm taking? So, as of now, what I'm thinking about is sticking to slowly increasing my position in Mozilla Ghost for defense. I think I've started building some positions in those at the beginning of April when the uh, trade war began, and after that, I have been increasing this position slowly. Now, I think why I want to take this strategy because data center and defense, these two sectors, I think, would be high growth, high value businesses in the coming decade because a lot of things are going to be driven by data and we have to exert hard power and government is like incentivizing it through all the channels, through all the means at this point in time. Like when the prime minister of the country is coming to a speech after a terrorist attack and saying that, hey, we are open to business, buy our weapons, he's pretty serious about that. Like, so any kind of problems that they're going to face and closing those deals, they'll try to just like make sure they can offer the best product to the customer. So let's see how this turns out. But I want to increase my risk and in this particular direction because I feel like the reward might be better based on the current scenario that happened because the performance of these weapons were too good. And there might be a good chance in the coming month. I think it will be clear in a month, not in a month, in 6 months to 1 year, like what's the status and how the order book is coming for these companies. So as of now, increase the position in non defense a bit. Apart from that, I'm not thinking about changing this portfolio much as of now, based on how the world changes, how the situation changes. I'll probably restructure it whenever I feel it. But as of now, I think I'm going to stick to these investments. So I've not also like changed major things in this portfolio. The only thing that has that I sold was to US equities when the trade war started during the beginning of April, and I migrated that money or moved that money to defense ETF to protect it in domestic Indian stocks. Let's take a look at what's the situation about Bharat Dynamics, like what kind of products are they producing. Let me analyze Bharat Dynamics. So over the weekend, I was working on this project since last 2 weekends. So for past few weeks, I have been working on this project called Nifty GPT. That's why I was not able to upload video on a regular basis. But I think I'm going to use this tool moving forward to understand what are the possible scenarios of investing in a company and understanding a company. So clearly, like if you were an investor, even a step up investor in Bharat Dynamics, then you would have made a lot of money. Like if I see I was investing, let's just say, 1,000 rupees on a monthly basis for last 3 years. I consider the journey after the Indo-China conflict happened in Galwan. So if I would have constructed that theory at that time, then uh, okay, I would have made a decent amount of money. I would have invested only 36,000 and my total portfolio would be almost 90,000. So that's a more than 100% return in less than 3 years. So clearly, this company is forefront and the center of Indian defense like exports. So let's try to understand what is the live news coming out of for Bharat Dynamics. So there's 16% negative sentiment about the company. Uh, So let's ask it. So what are the red flags? Now, a GPT model does not have context about the current events. It only has information about the past. So it cannot comprehend whatever happened uh, currently and make decisions on the basis of that. So we have to use that knowledge that's coming to us live to make any choice and investment decisions. So let's try to understand what's the existing red flags in the company. There are several facts associated with Bharat Dynamics based on the recent news and development. First was profit decline from March, and this was a major red flag profitability concern. So let's want to see why it happened. Yes, clearly in June 2024, there was a decline, and in this entire year, there was a decline in profit before tax. Now, that's a valid argument. Then, large contracts without immediate upside, while PDL secured large contracts such as for Akash weapon system, $1 billion Akash conquerors and missile. These contracts have not translated into immediate profit though. Okay, so even though the company is able to sell the product, it's not able to turn it into its profitability. And to some extent, it might be a possibility that they are thinking about expansion, and that's why their top line is growing, but their uh, bottom line is not growing that much, and they are not focusing on their margins. So let's try to understand uh, how is their top line going? Like, what's their sales growth? So compounded sales growth 5 to 7%. So actually, whatever order book they have received is not converted on the ground, and that's actually surprising, and that's a red flag. But again, like if we're expecting $1 billion sale from Akash in the coming year, so that's like 4 times sale of the current sales, and top line is going to increase almost 4 times. And right now, the market cap to sales ratio for this company is almost 23. So even though we hit almost $1 billion or like 8,000 or 10,000 CR uh, sales, still the market cap to sales is going to look like 5 or 6, which is again really high. Now, I don't want to give this growth company, which is a government backed entity, a market cap to sales um, at max like uh, 12 or 10. That's also too premium based on the hype that's getting created. And even after 4 years, like I don't, uh, it's a risky bet. I see it's a risky bet. And almost 3 months ago, it was a good time to buy. Now I feel that way. But again, I would not be investing in this company individually. I would like to stay goes through my ETFs. Let's try to see what are the other red flags. Market volatility and market analyst views. PTL stock has seen volatility. I think that's like completely an invalid red flag. I don't consider volatility as a red flag in a business. Execution challenge. Yeah, I think that's a pretty sensitive problem for this company because even though the orders are coming in, where is the sales? Like, why is the sales not increasing? Uh, so that means they have some operational issues that they need to resolve. They cannot just go on like this. Maybe reliance on government contracts. So yes, right now PDL was primarily focusing to government requests, specifically the TRI services. Now they are going to focus on export orders, and I think that might be a interesting thing. So competition from private player. While BDL is a major PSU defense sector, power defense solar industry. So yes, but no, because the products that they are producing are mostly attack weapons. Our defense is not producing any attack weapons. Solar industry is more into ammunition and producing, how do I say, things that blast, boom. So I think they have a pretty unique space. They are only into attack missiles, weapons, and I would not consider it as a major red flag or a negative point about this company as of now. If you enjoyed these kind of videos that I'm creating and you find these tools helpful, then please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel.